Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Blast from the Past movie podcast. I'm one of your hosts, CJ.
Joe Kill, keeping it real.
Felicia K.
And I want to say thank you for Felicia K once for coming on the Blast from the Past movie podcast. Once again, we appreciate having you in the building.
Yes.
That's it. What?
I'm here.
Yeah, you here. You were
I'm
definitely
here.
here. You're definitely here. So,
And then this gives us a nice female perspective also that we haven't had in a while.
we haven't had in a while, and that's definitely right. We've been missing that female presence. So we definitely
Shout out to Mike and Ellie. Ellie, you were on the show when we were doing Zoom, but
That's true.
I'm talking
That's
about
true.
the regular, weekly show.
Yeah, exactly. The weekly show that we haven't, it has been a while since been back. So if you guys are just now tuning in on the Facebook or Instagram live feed, thank you very much. You listen to us on YouTube. We appreciate you, or listen to us on SoundCloud, Spotify, and all those audio sources websites. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Blast from the Past movie podcast, where we talk about old school movies, throwback movies, and if we do or do not like them. And sometimes we just
Kill some new one.
We rip a new one.
Yep, because we just don't like it.
Because we just don't like them. I didn't
There's
go.
a lot of those.
It didn't go. Oh, nope. Oh, no. We're getting used to stuff over here, guys, so don't worry about it.
Just so you know, people, that was the ba-ba-ba-ba.
That was trying to be the... It's not doing it.
I got you. I got you.
There it is. I appreciate it, Felicia, because that's why you're here, to do stuff like that. But anyway,
Because this is what women do. Feel me?
we
They hold us
appreciate
down.
you.
They
We
hold us
appreciate
down.
you so much right now. But guys, so we're gonna hop right into it. And the movie I want to talk about today is a movie I recently made Felicia watch.
You did.
Because I'm like, you gotta watch this movie because it's just interesting to me.
True.
It's just interesting.
I was a little nervous when I heard the title.
Well, Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah. I was like,
Thought it was a porn, didn't you?
Yeah. What did you think when I first told you about this title of Crocodile Dundee?
and it was before the 2000s. Well, if you like it.
Oh, that's funny, man. So yeah, we are gonna talk about the movie Crocodile Dundee. Wow. Kills.
Yes, sir.
Now, when I first told you, hey, let's do Crocodile Dundee, what was your initial reaction to that?
Why? And it, just so you guys know, it wasn't a bad why, but it was more like, just what made you pick that movie? I mean, out of all the movies we could do,
Yeah.
what was so significant in that movie that you had to go, I'm gonna do that one?
I can answer that question for you. Yes.
Okay.
What's so significant about this movie?
Inquiry minds want to know.
Yo, listen, what was so interesting about that movie was because I always felt like, it'd been cool to be a person living in the outback or living in like the wild and just like being that man among men kind of persona. I kind of like that. And I also like the fact that, I love movies when people get introduced to different environments.
Okay.
And so being that he is a person from the outback, and if you don't know where the outback is, we're not about the steakhouse. We are literally talking about Australia. So
The bushlands of Australia.
bushlands of
Not the
Australia.
cities.
So Kills, you want to give the people just a brief rundown of what Crocodile Dundee is all about?
Really? You gonna have me do this?
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
Not gonna do it. This is your movie, but you're not gonna do
Oh,
it.
you want me to do it then?
Yes, I want you to
Oh,
do this
damn
one.
it. All right, then. So if you guys haven't seen Crocodile Dundee, basically Crocodile Dundee is about this woman who is a newspaper article writer, and she happens to be in Sydney, Australia doing a piece, and then she hears about this man called Crocodile Dundee that survived an crocodile attack on him, and she's hearing all these fabulous stories, so she wants to get the story from the source. So she goes to this little town in, I think it was called Walla Walla Creek or something like that. And
That name, though.
it's-
Walla Walla Creek.
It was like Walla Walla Creek, or it was something like that. It was some weird name of that. And Walkabout Creek, that's what it was called. I'm sorry, Walkabout Creek, which is funny because there's no creek. Well, there is a creek. Technically, there is.
It's
well,
dried up.
It's dried up. So anyway, it's a small town of maybe 50 people. I want to say.
I don't think it was that many.
I don't think it was that many. Everybody was pretty much at the bar. So she basically goes there and she wants to find out, like, hey, I want to know exactly what happened. Take me through it. Walk me through the process of how it happened. And so he's just showing her basically how it happened, how they went through, and she's just like pretty much doing a human resource a human interest piece on Crocodile Dundee.
Right.
And so she can put in the New York paper. And so this whole time she's going through the Australia outback, and she's just like, I'm a woman. I'm think I can do it. Yeah. But then she ends up falling for him a little bit. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But she ends up falling for him. And he
was a manly man.
She's like, you know what? I want to repay the favor. And how about you come to New York City? It'd be a cool follow up to the piece. And at this time, he's never left the outback. And so him going to New York and experiencing everything for the first time is freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
And it all plays on the whole like friendship of Australian people. I don't know if you guys have ever met Australian people in your travels, but they are some nice people.
They're some of the friendliest people.
Yeah.
When you get around them.
That's definitely true.
And the funniest thing about it is to think about the history of Australia in general, though.
Yeah.
When you look back in history, and Australia was basically colonized by criminals, because that's where the worst of the worst were sent.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yes, England, France.
That's the real hood.
That is the real hood.
That's the real hood.
Technically, it was a prison island. It started out as a prison island.
That's wow.
And so to see how far it's come
from there, yeah.
It's amazing how friendly those people are, because those are, there are people who migrated there also, but to just be an island of all prisoners at one point, and then you get this, how there's, like I said, some of the friendliest people you'll ever meet. That's
true, because when I was in Dublin, I actually met a man from Australia, and we became cool friends. Like right off the bat, like he was like, "Hey man, let's go have a drink." I'm like, "All right, cool." And he was an Asian guy too, which is kind of funny to me. He was like Asian Australian, but it was still interesting. And he was a really cool dude, and it was just we had a good time. After we went on our tour, because we were there on the Game of Thrones tour. So we went on the Game of Thrones tour, and we already had something in common. So it was easy just to be cool and have some drinks and hang out. But Felicia, I want to know when you first seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
What was your initial thoughts when you actually started looking at the movie?
It was actually interesting. Crocodile Dundee, he was a real bushman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Strangling crocodiles. Ain't nothing wrong with a man strangling a crocodile.
Felicia, that was gonna be my next question. Is that a turn on? Is it a turn on to women when it's like it's just a manly man like?
Yeah. I'm let you know
I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Don't give me that look. I'm just saying,
if you really want to impress a woman, strangle a crocodile. We don't ask for much.
Yeah,
but when
Kill's
we ask,
look on his face is hilarious, though. I love
with
it.
your hands now, with your bare hands, okay?
That's funny, though.
That's all women ask for. It clearly isn't.
But what's so funny? What's so funny? In the movie, he's really modest, though. He's really modest. He doesn't say, "Oh yeah," and the comedy. There's comedy in the movie, but the comedy doesn't come off of like jokes.
Yeah.
Which I liked about it. It wasn't jokey comedy. It was just like stuff like.
Regular stuff.
Regular stuff, he was shaving with an actual little shaver when she walked away.
But then
when she walked up, he came out with his big knife and started shaving himself. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
like that's how I'm supposed to do it.
Yeah, that's how I'm supposed to do it, which is pretty funny. Yeah. And the fact that he was raised by now I'm gonna say the word. Abalonia.
Oh, I almost got it.
Aborigines. See, I thought I was
close though. I was close though.
You was close though. Which was cool though. I like that aspect of it. And you can tell that it was a respect of the culture, which was cool, like to see that part of the dance. But a lot of people don't even know about the Aborigines. I remember when we watched it, you really didn't know about that. Them being some of the original first people to that area.
The black people of Australia.
Pretty much, we're everywhere.
Yeah, that was interesting.
The first people
that was really interesting.
Technically from Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
But for them to migrate and the actual your skin tone and everything like that, and just your normal body, how it reacts to different environments.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous though when I see dark skin in old movies. I just get nervous.
Oh,
I get nervous.
Oh, she goes all the way to the back like that.
Yeah. But your mind go to blackface and it'd be like, oh no.
Yeah, I'd be like, hold on.
I want to give a quick. I can't see over there, but quick shout out to everybody that's tuning in on Instagram, my Instagram live feed. Appreciate it much, and then on Kill's Facebook. Appreciate you guys tuning in right now, guys. Thank you very much. And we're talking about the movie Crocodile Dundee. So, Kills, what's one of your favorite scenes from Crocodile Dundee?
Oh, I've been holding this in since you started talking about it.
Okay, here we go.
No, my favorite scene is actually when he's in New York.
Okay, which scene is that?
And he's walking around, because he's from Walkabout Creek, where they just walk around everywhere they go. They don't mind. And he gets mugged.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
He kind of gets mugged.
The guy pulls out a switchblade and he goes, "Give me your money." He's like, "That's not a knife." And he pulls out this big Bowie knife. Guys, this is a knife. And they take off running. It's like, really?
And to give you
three of them.
And give you perspective on the knife had to be at least a foot long.
Oh yeah,
it's a foot long, about an inch.
Bowie.
Well, some people don't know what a 100 Bowie knife is. You know what I'm saying? So look it up. So it is a huge ass knife, and he's just walking around.
A baby machete.
And he's walking around New York City with this thing, and nobody's paying any mind. Like,
because it's actually, they said they wanted to put it into a sheath.
Yeah. And
just have it clipped on the back of his belt. But in the movie, it made more sense because he wouldn't be having it in a sheath.
Yeah.
Because the sheath has to be clicked. It has to have a safety strap.
Oh, yeah.
In the bush, you wouldn't have a safety strap because it takes you too long to get it out.
Exactly.
So they were saying that was one of the things that they had to do. It was in a safety sheath on the film, but he says if he really had it, it would just be tucked down in his pants.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
that's crazy.
So for it to be tucked down in his pants, nobody would see it anyway because the blade's in your pants and the handle is under his vest. Wow. So there would be no knife to see.
Okay, I understand that. That was a good. That was a good part. I would say my favorite part, was the dog scene when he is going to her house. Now there's a little bit of a love thing going on. It's like a weird love triangle. Like the girl ends up falling for him in the bush when they're out in Australia, and she kisses him, and it's like you can tell like they're into each other. But not knowing that she has a freaking boyfriend when she gets back to New York, and now she's back with not just a boyfriend, but fiance pretty much for the most part, fiance. She was
playing,
but he didn't do that till later on in the movie. He didn't, propose till later on in the movie. But anyway, and so he came back, and it was like he was like, "Damn, I didn't, Crocodile Dundee." He's like, "I didn't," pretty much like saying like, "I didn't know you had a man, but I don't care. Like, I'm gonna get you anyway." Kind of deal, but he was playing it cool, like he wasn't super disrespectful till he punched the guy. But it's I
feel like he was really laid back. I feel like he was like just super chill about the whole situation, which I thought was really interesting.
Why'd you find that interesting?
I find it interesting because it meant the fact that he was from the bush meant that he had like a certain confidence that was like kind of settled. So it's like he just was unbothered by a lot of stuff that most people are bothered by. So he wasn't like ego driven. So the fact that he was just chill about it, like he noticed when he got back that she was with him, but he still was just chill about it. Like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. He just kept being him.
He just kept being himself,
and it worked. But the part, let me finish the part because I know we just went off a little tangent, but that's what we do on the show.
Oh yeah.
But my favorite part is when Carl Winslow is dropping him off with the girl and her fiance, and the dogs are out from her parents' place, and so they're like these Doberman pinchers or whatever, and they're running up to the car, or no, they're like pit bulls or something like that, and he does this weird thing with his fingers.
He does the ceiling,
but he does it with his pinky and his thumb. Yeah, it's his pinky and his thumb. Yeah. He just
do the ceiling, kind of like the ceiling. Everything you do.
I didn't think about that part, but that's true though. He did everything you do. So he uses these, it was weird, trick that, you learn in the bush, and it's like mind over matter. And so he's kind of like an animal whisperer, if I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And he calms the dogs down. And so they leave, and I say Carl Winslow because I always forget his real name, but he's in the movie as a driver of a limousine.
Or a cop.
It's either the two roles he plays, a limousine or a cop. Like Die Hard, he was a cop, right?
Yeah.
And
that's true.
Even in the later episodes of Girl Meets World, he plays a cop.
Oh, he was in that.
He was in the episode of Girl Meets World, and he plays a cop.
That's interesting.
Okay. Which was exactly. So he's always playing those roles anyway. And so when they leave, and he's like, "It's cool," and Crocodile Dundee walks away, and the guy, what Carl Winslow character, he walks around to the car. He's like, "Okay, cool. The dog ain't gonna attack me." Then they start barking and then growling, and he's like, "Stop! Walk around the other side of the car," so he can go into the back.
That was a good scene. I like that scene.
Mm-hmm.
But what you missed out is Crocodile Dundee pets the dogs.
Oh yeah, he does pet the dogs.
And so when the character Carl Winslow is the actor is playing,
yeah,
he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go pet the dog too. And that's when they start barking at him.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, never mind, I'm getting back in the car.
Yeah.
And this movie, Crocodile Dundee, not only was that one of my favorite parts because I just felt that was just so interesting to see. It's just the whole thing of him always finding, like, everybody loves him. Like, everybody loves him.
Yeah.
Like, everybody loves him. And that's, like, everywhere he goes. Like, even the cop that picked him up because he was in the middle of New York City trying to go against New York City traffic. And if you guys ever know about going through New York traffic, it's not the business. So he's going and he's just, like, getting lost. So he gets on this pole and starts climbing to look around to see where he needs to go. And this cop on a horseback starts, like, riding up to him. And then the next scene cuts to the cop, like, having Crocodile Dundee on the back of the horse with him, coming up to a hotel. And he's like, all right, Mick, I'll see you later. And hands him back his freaking foot-long knife. He just goes back up the stairs.
Yeah.
Right.
So
it's a testament what happens, I think. Just how the world around you will adapt if you just yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Stop trying to be the tough guy and just be you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he wasn't trying to be the tough guy.
matter how
He was trying to find his way back to the hotel.
He was literally like, I just want to see how that conversation went. That's all I'm trying to say.
The behind the scenes.
The behind the scenes conversation.
And stuff like that, yeah.
But they made some, they did make some racial stuff in here to a certain degree as far as like, what tribe you with? He's like, what tribe you with? And the guy's like, I ain't with no tribe. Like,
because he thought they was one of the Aberonis.
Yeah,
I know I said it wrong. I know.
So I don't
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. We know what you mean. But yeah, so I guess he just thought that was going on. And they was like, tribe, we ain't with no tribe and stuff like that. And the bar he went to had a lot of, like, cool little characters. Yeah. And that was probably my second favorite scene is when he meets I don't even want to say it because I'm gonna get messed
tranny?
up. Okay, she said it. Okay. When he meets the tranny, the transgender,
yeah,
and he's talking to her, thinking that it's a girl.
Oh
and remember, the guy's like, "Hey man, I'm trying to tell you, man, that's a guy." He's like, "No, it's not. It's not the guy." And he goes up to her and just looks at her and just like just goes and touches his balls. And he's like, "Hey, that's not a Sheila. That's
a bloke, not a Sheila.
It's a man. Yeah.
And he was just so shocked.
He reached for it too. Like
he touched it.
No,
he touched it. He grabbed it. Because remember the neck. Then further down.
That gets you killed.
Oh hell yeah! You can't do that nowadays. You could never do that nowadays. I mean, obviously, I don't think nobody would ever do that except for your
I think I should have got you killed back then.
Yeah, it would have. But because he's
new, he's
new. They know he's new.
Yeah,
because he tells his story to everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
So they know he's new, and then he's like you said with the cop. Mm-hmm. At the end of the scene with the cop's dropping him off at the hotel.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like that personable guy that you meet, and it's like, okay, you got to pass this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then at the end he did it again to somebody else, but it was like, it wasn't. This was a real woman.
It was an older woman.
And she liked it.
And she was like, ooh, okay.
And she was, you gonna go straight for it, baby.
Because he didn't know, so he checked. He's like, hey, how you doing? And the girl's
like he was handshaking.
He's like, I don't know what's going on here in New York. I gotta do a check.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And I loved it because I mean, Kills, how do you think this movie really did? Like when you said anything, thought about how do you think it really did?
I think it did. I think it did okay, only because of the people who were in it.
Okay.
At the time, were big stars. Like Paul Hogan.
Okay.
He was a big star.
Yeah, he was.
He was basically the Vin Diesel of that time.
Oh, wow.
You really gonna say that, huh?
Well, as far as the popularity goes, because Vin Diesel's an action star.
Okay, hold on. Sidebar.
Okay.
Vin Diesel. Is he even still an action star? Is he top level star?
Why he ain't?
Because there are so many
Vin
people
Diesel.
that have dethroned him. And I think he's down the pole.
Why do you say that?
Because you have The Rock, who is now the probably leading action star in the world,
which he helped.
But I'm saying
like
he's
The Rock
on the
is
mountain.
soft, though.
He's on the mountaintop. He's on the mountaintop when it comes to actors. When it comes to action actors on the mountaintop, Jason Momoa, same person.
Yeah.
He's on the mountaintop. You can't do that. You know what I mean?
Okay, let me ask you this.
But if Vin Diesel came back with another movie, though.
I was just about to ask you.
He did, and it was terrible.
Which one?
Bloodshot? Bloodshot.
Okay.
I didn't see that.
Exactly.
I haven't seen it either yet. But think about this. The Rock, you picked up The Rock. The Rock has his following from wrestling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The Rock is just fine though. Like, but realistically, ever since The Rock did the Tooth Fairy, what was the one with the Tooth Fairy?
When he was super skinny and stuff.
Yeah, I
That was
just
Tooth Fairy.
That and game plan.
The Rock is like a big nice guy, and he just reeks big, beautiful, nice
and
guy.
he's really a
Vin
nice
Diesel
guy.
is like he reeks like tough guy, like family guy, but he
he's
has
really
a
a nice
certain.
guy. He's really a nice guy.
He is, but he's like
He
if I
has
saw
that-
Vin Diesel on the street, like
Right.
I would believe it. Like if Vin Diesel wasn't an actor and he told me like he was, he was in Cuba, selling drugs and Cuban cigars, I would believe it. The Rock,
I feel like you had to make the freaking Fast and Furious franchise just for Vin Diesel so he can stay relevant. Sorry.
But he's actually
to make
making
it do it.
he's actually making the Fast and the Furious franchise.
I know. He's making
He's
Yeah.
doing what I'm saying
Yeah.
is he's doing it.
exactly. So
he's
he's
got-
putting out movies for himself. Because nobody's hiring him for nothing else, and putting out Fast 8. There's about to be a 9 and
Yes.
a 10 and a
No,
I think it's
it's
got to
o-
be
it's
a
only
movie for Van Diesel though. It's like Denzel. Denzel, you ain't gonna see Denzel in everything,
He's
but the
picking
movies
and
you do
choosing
see,
his movies,
yeah.
Okay, I understand
when
that.
And when you have the ability to pick and choose your movies, that tells you something about where you're at.
I don't know, man. I still don't
Yeah.
think he's
He
on the
not just
top
doing
level.
anything.
He's not. He's
The
not
Rock did
people,
the Tooth
on
Fairy.
action movies. He's not people's first choice. I guarantee it.
The Rock
guarantee
did the
it.
Tooth Fairy. Come on,
Yeah, that too. He did.
I couldn't.
After Tooth
I
Fairy,
know
though,
the
there was so
idea
many-
of what he was trying to do. Like, I don't want to do a nice like kids movie, but
I mean,
Well,
we got Thor.
the Tooth Fairy.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth. He's been playing. He's up there now again with action stars. He just got one movie on Netflix. You know what I mean?
The Extraction, which is a great movie.
Yeah, The Extraction. So it's just like there's all these action stars now. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's and I feel
pick
like he's
Vin
low
Diesel
on the
over
totem
The
pole.
Rock any day in a movie.
Because who was? I'm sorry to cut you off, Felicia, but I was. But Paul, who
Paul
was?
Walker?
Yep, no, not Paul Walker. I'm talking about Crocodile Dundee
Okay. Paul Hogan.
yeah.
and Paul Hogan. Who was with him at the time when it was like action?
Nobody.
Nobody. So he was the only action.
He wasn't really
star.
Paul Hogan really wasn't an action star.
He wasn't.
He's a comedic actor.
Oh,
Yeah, he did stand up in Australia.
Yeah, that's why his timing on this movie was so his comedic timing was perfect. Like his comedic timing was perfect. Like I wish Jay was
Yeah.
here to talk about that because when you talk about comedic timing, like I'm not a super genius when it comes to that, but everything worked. Like I said, from him looking at his friend's watch, and then when she turned it back around, look at the sun, like it's 3:25. It's just like that's funny.
Little
It's just little stuff.
for a comedian to transfer over into a role where you could be serious. Like I think Jamie Foxx has done a really good job of transferring his being a comedian, but being able to take on like serious roles and being believable.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he was a comedian and able to pull off a role that was semi-serious,
Now the female lead in Crocodile Dundee.
which is one of my favorite parts.
Go ahead, tell your favorite part, Felicia.
Was when she was at the dinner table and the guy she came back with, who was her fiance, proposed, and Dundee's at the end of the table like, oh, really? Really? He just looking like, so it was I thought it to be interesting because like the way she played it off though, like with both of them was like really interesting. I'm like, wow, like she on some pimp shit. That's some serious pimp shit that's some serious pimp shit when you do when you got both your hoes at dinner and at dinner like ain't nothing going down. Like, yeah. Robert, this is Tommy. Tommy, this is Robert.
Hey, but he played it smooth too, though. Crocodile Dundee, he played it smooth too, though. Because I mean, you could tell he was a little bit mad. You're like, oh, okay.
He's like, okay.
And then he leaves. He actually does leave.
But she was playing it so cool to where it was like it almost looked like they both started examining themselves. Like, is there something wrong with me, or like, is this actually something? Like the way she played it off, movie or not, like hands down, the way she played that shit off at that dinner table was unbelievable.
Felicia said the way she played it off.
She
what?
did.
She did. I mean, with a straight face. Even when they first got back from the airport, like, oh yeah, this is.
Well, because I think when they got back from the airport, when they came back from the airport from Australia,
She brought him back too. Like she brought back Dundee.
Right, but I think it was more along the lines of not her having feelings for Crocodile Dundee. It was more of
In the moment.
story. Yeah, it was. She just chalked it up to, damn, he just killed a crocodile for me, and there are those endorphins that do come out.
Yeah.
You know, and then so when she's like, okay, maybe I was just overexcited about it. But like you said,
Nah, she knows she wanted. She brought him back She brought him back to New York.
I think at the time, with like I said, the flight was more of, I want him to experience. I don't want to say it, but I want him to experience me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by her being a
New Yorker. But like you said, there was that moment where it's like, I want him to experience me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not talking about just New York, but I'm
yeah.
Now,
but she also knew she had
Boo Boo the Fool.
Yeah. And you know, that was basically who her father and her family wanted.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, and right now, I'm sorry guys, it's been hustling last minute for this, but I couldn't get all my notes down. But the female's lead actual's name I can't think of right now. But if you plan on watching the movie, there is a scene where it's probably my second favorite scene. You know what I'm saying?
What scene is that?
Well, she's getting mad at Crocodile Dundee because Crocodile Dundee calls her a Sheila, basically saying like, you're a girl, you couldn't survive out here by yourself. And she's like, I'm a New Yorker, I can survive by myself, which is a typical New Yorker move.
Survive anything.
Yeah.
That's a typical New Yorker move to me. And
independent woman.
So he's like, okay. And so she just walks off by herself. It's like, well, I'll meet you at that ridge. And she's like walking off. And Crocodile Dundee's like, all right. And he's like pretty much like stalking her from behind, make sure nothing's happening. And something does. She ends up going. And this is when the movie I found out that you don't bend next to freaking low level water. So she bends over to get, because she's hot. She takes off those shorts.
How she do it?
Oh, damn. She took it off, though. And I was
how
like,
she do
damn. She took it off. I'm like, damn, she got a little body on her. And then I was like, you know, back in the day when they had the long underwear, I call them, the long risings. The high rises. They're probably going to bring that shit back, probably. But
you know they will.
And
fashion rolls.
And so, exactly. So she goes down there and she's just like trying to pat herself because she's hot. You know, obviously, it's an outback. And she's getting water from the water that's touching the shore right there. And all of a sudden, this big ass crocodile comes and tries to, and grabs her canteen and is like about to pull her in, and Crocodile Dundee comes out of nowhere, jumps on the crocodile. Look at Felicia getting a little wet right now. Felicia
wow,
jumping on the crocodile
under the bus and
just stabs the crocodile right in the middle of the head, and was just like, and it's like, wow. And then she just goes up to him and just like gives him this big giant ass hug, like I said, oh my god,
there's endorphins.
Listen.
So with all that,
fellas, all you gotta do is kill a crocodile. We don't ask for much.
That's the name of this episode. Kill the crocodiles. That's all you need to do.
We don't ask for much.
Kill a crocodile, get a piece.
Yeah.
We don't ask for much.
If I kill a crocodile, bitch, I better get more than a piece. That's what I'm sorry. That's what's gonna happen. I want a piece on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
For the men who can't kill crocodiles.
Hey.
Make sure she stay away from the water.
Yeah, make sure she stay away from the water.
I don't watch enough swamp people. I can kill a crocodile. I can kill an alligator because I know where that sweet spot is.
You gotta get to it, man. I don't know, Kills. Stop that.
I might kill it myself.
Kills, I don't know if you can do that.
You know, in all actuality, if you can get the crocodile's mouth before it opens, you can hold it shut. Crocodile and alligator. Their opening power is not strong. It's their clamping.
I want to know why you know that. That's just some useless information. Like you shouldn't even know.
It's like the cool uncle that know everything,
right?
Let me ask you this.
That's what I do.
That's why you hear though, Kills.
But let me ask you this: on what episode have we shot? And you guys know on what episode have we shot that I do not have information that people think is useless until you get one of these movies?
Yeah, that's true. I guess so. That's true. Once again, I want to shout out everybody that's on the Instagram live feed. Appreciate you guys, and who's on Kill's Facebook live feed. I can't really see the.
I see Raul. What's up, Raul?
Is that Raul over there? I can't see who else is on there right now, but there's quite a few people that's been looking right now. I can't wave back. Sorry about that. But right now, guys, we are talking about the movie Crocodile Dundee, and actually, this movie I guess was popular enough because it springed two offsprings. Yeah. With Crocodile Dundee Part 2,
right,
and where he's actually pretty much living in New York right now, and so that's he's still going through the transition, but I still feel like it was an easy flow from 1 to 2. Like it was a good transition, and I didn't feel like there was a break in the action. Like the story didn't. I don't even think the story really moved along, other than the fact that he stayed in New York. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because usually, if a story like that happens, the girl follows the man, and which didn't happen until Part 3. where he does go back.
Well, part 2 he went back.
Eventually he went back, yes, because of the.
I'm gonna actually say this. They actually did a really good job, like you said, with transitioning, because when they ended 1, he was supposed to go back and he didn't. He stayed with the girl.
Exactly.
When they pick up in 2, they're living in New York.
Exactly.
And the only reason why they go back to Australia is because of the drug dealers.
They're drug dealers, yeah.
And in all actuality, they go back chasing him.
And you know what's so kills? I want to pick up on that real fast because, like I said, the transition worked perfectly if you were paying attention.
Right.
Because in the first movie, she refers to her. He asked if you ever been married. Remember in the first movie, and she's like, yeah, I had a husband, but he was like save the world kind of person, all this stuff. And then the second movie, it's the husband is pretty much doing something for the DEA. He's taking pictures, of some Mexican cartel type shit going on, and so he catches the head guy killing somebody, and he sends the photos to her. So that's how she gets all mixed up in this, is because the drug dealer guys come to United States, they come to New York looking for her because they know that she has to film, and they hold her hostage, and Mick has to get her back. And so Mick rescues her from the damn in distress kind of deal, and they want Australia. And they want revenge, and so she's like, okay, we'll do witness protection, but I'm going to do it where I can see them coming, and then they go back to Australia, and so he's like, doing his thing, and you kind of find out that he has actually a lot of property in Australia, and
he owns about 90% of Walkabout Creek.
Yeah, he owns a good portion of it. And he's like, that's a lot. He's like, nah, out here, if it's anything less than like, he said, 3 miles or something like that, it's
he said like 30 acres or something like that.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's a chip. Because it's Australia.
Make a big deal out of it.
And so he doesn't make a bill of it, but he does mention that there's gold in his area too. So if you got to hear the little subtle things that he mentions in the movie. But back to what I was saying, the transition between 1 to 2. It moves really
Very
smoothly and then like it ends with him in Walkabout Creek, and then the third movie, which is actually my favorite movie because I like the son. The son is just like, and now they're living in Australia. So this part they're living in Australia, and the dad her dad who happens to be this big time New York publishing guy. And he's like, the office in Los Angeles needs a head person. I want you to do it. So she's like, okay. So she goes to LA and she takes Mick and her son he's probably maybe like 10.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Between the ages of 10 and 12, I want to say. So they've been living out in Australia for a while now,
Wow, yeah.
And but it said still the transition, it moved. Like the house wasn't like super huge. It was one level. It was nice. It was still trying to show him being like, because before he didn't live really in a house.
No, he lived out in the bush.
He lived in the bush in like a trailer type of thing. And so now he has a house, and like it's still him being rugged in his house. I think he was cleaning a bear trap some type of bear trap.
And they had alluded to him. He had built the house.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I had contractors come out and build. No, it alluded to him actually building the house for them.
Oh, see, look at that. Killing crocodiles, building houses.
The floor is slippery over here, guys. I just want you to know it's slippery.
That's too much.
And angled deeply.
Too much.
I'm sorry.
Slipping from Clorox disinfectant. So we're clear.
Oh, just so we're clear. The disinfectant, man. But it's hilarious though. But I'm very much happy about this movie. But so that's why I said part 2 and part 3. Part 3 was my favorite movie. And more importantly, because I liked it because of the whole the ordering of food scene. Because they were so amazing. They can order takeout food.
Yeah.
He's like, there'll be 4 of us dining in the car tonight. So that's why he ordered 16 burgers and some shit like that. It was hilarious to me just to see that little that whole dynamic. But Felicia, what was another one of your favorite parts in the movie? What's something that stood out to you the most, though? Not to be a favorite part, but something that stood out to you.
Something that stood out. Let me see. I mean, I would have to say though, his just kind of, I think what comes from staying in the bush, just this without the city life. I think that the difference between the city life and the bush, you know what I mean? And how coming from the bush to the city, most people's perspective would be like, oh, you come into a better life, but not necessarily so. And by the end of those conclusions, it always turns out that, the bush is always better.
Gotcha.
So that's one of the things that stood out, the difference between.
I would have to disagree with the statement I like the idea, but I would have to disagree with the statement because, in all actuality, if you you haven't seen the second one and the third one, but to me, with the second one and the third one, it showed that one life is not better than the other. It's what you make of it.
Yeah.
And are you willing to adapt? Are you willing to adapt?
Are you willing to adapt? Because her life,
there's a benefit, and you lose something and you gain something in both of them.
Exactly.
Because when she found him in the bush and took him to New York, in the whole first movie, he was trying to adapt and he was finding it very difficult.
Yeah.
When the second movie rolls around, he's adapted to a point.
Yeah.
And then when they have to go back to Australia, she has to adapt to that lifestyle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because going to Sydney is no different from what I've heard. Going to Sydney is really no different than any major city in the U.S. So for her to do a story in Sydney, there was no changing for her. But for her to go into the bush,
exactly,
that's
where
a big
he's
difference.
from, she had to adapt to his lifestyle. And then they show that in the second movie and in the third movie, the beginning of the third movie, that's the smooth transitioning. And then they decide to go to L.A.
Yeah.
So it was like, wham, wham, wham. But it showed you how they adapted in the different scenarios.
Yeah.
So
that's a strong point.
I like the idea.
No, valid disagreement, because that's true. It doesn't really matter because you can really, it shows that I see what you're saying. It shows that basically you can make any environment livable and work to your advantage.
Right.
It just depends on the person.
It's true, because what Bruce Lee says, use what is useful and discard what is useless, and essentially make it your own.
Right.
And you know what's so funny is this is one of the reasons I love doing this podcast, because I think some people just take movies for use a face value, like on the ground, on the surface, and don't like to go deeper into the movie. And that's the thing about when you try to listen to our podcast, guys. It's like, yeah, we're gonna talk about like just the ground surface stuff we like, how they did and all that stuff. But there's always underlying meanings in movies or something you can take away from a movie. And this was have to do. I feel like the main thing was adapting. Like you have to adapt to the situations that are given to you. Go ahead, Kills.
And I want to touch on something because, we talk about, movies and basically, the entertainment value of it and what we like about it. But also, I like the fact that, like, I have an aunt who's a missionary.
Yeah.
She actually has her own church in Africa. But since the coronavirus and everything like that, she's been forced to come back home and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But she's adapted to living there.
Got you.
She's like,
Which part of Africa?
Don't get me to lying.
Okay.
But I was going to touch on that because I was also going to touch on your travels.
Yeah.
You've learned to adapt to places you've been.
Yeah.
I know you went to London. I know you've been to Ghana.
Yeah.
And you've adapted to those areas.
Yeah.
And it's no different than this. This movie is showing there's no real difference in people. It's you. It's not the attitude of the people in the surroundings.
Yeah.
It's
how
your
you adapt.
attitude.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because everybody has. Adapt.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And you can adapt, and that's one thing that, I always say, you know what, I'm huge on, I talk about London all the time because I fell in love with so many different elements of London. But and when I was in Africa, I still adapted, but it was difficult. But it's really just about just that, not that one, because I would say one was better than not that one experience was better than the other. One was more easier because of technology and things like that. But where you have technology, sometimes you have a loss of communication and culture and relational
right
balances. And so I think it really is about that. That's a strong point that you made, just about the adaptability, and what it takes to be adaptable too is the willingness just to be adaptable. To give up your comfort, because if I would have spent the whole time complaining, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it would have been.
I like that point.
Yeah, because like you were saying, like in Ghana, where there's not a lot of resources. My aunt was telling me she's got a house, and but they use well water where we have running water.
Yeah.
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 And it's like she's like, I got my own well. I'm like, why do you need your own well? Not me not knowing.
Exactly.
Because any place I've been out of the country,
running
they have running water.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a real rural area out of the country. So, for her to show me pictures of her, she basically has a farm.
Yeah.
And she's got chickens and stuff like that in her home. And I'm like, she's like, this is food.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, and
you don't got McDonald's, but but that natural food that you got me, you live longer.
She told
to
me.
Trade.
Yeah,
she asked me, you know, if I ever sent a package when she was over there, if we ever sent a package, you know, she knows the postage would be higher. But she's like, a can of tuna over there is like $7 for a small can of tuna.
Mm-hmm.
It's $7.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would I buy a $7 can of tuna? She's like, because you want tuna at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, it's a completely different situation and scenario for that.
Yeah, definitely.
And
But
like I said, this movie adapted a lot of people for that kind of lifestyle, that missionary lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you looked into the movie deeper, like I said, than just entertainment value, if you looked into it, then looked at it more than that, then you were like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
Or, you know what, missionary life ain't for me.
Yeah.
It was definitely, I feel like there was more to the movie than met the eye, as far as, like you said, going deeper in the movie, talking about you guys were just talking about right now, as far as the, you know, be able to transition and be able to be adaptable. And, you know, there was a romance aspect to it. You know, like you said, like just a rugged man aspect of it. That's one thing I like about it.
He's not a rugged looking man.
He's not even rugged looking at all. He's just super manly. I don't know how to explain it. Like, he's just like, but he's modest about it. He's not arrogant. You know what I mean? The times he acts arrogant, it's purposely acting arrogant, because it's like,
he can back it up though. I think that's what makes it. It's like it's that it's in a hero. It's kind of like when he does do it, he's kind of being a hero of a situation, like with the girl with the 2 prostitutes that he ran into.
Yeah.
And they pimp, you know.
Yeah.
He gets smart with him, but it's like he's out, you know what I'm saying?
And then real quick, in part 2, one of my parts I like is the fact that he was trying to assist some helps or some local little, you know, hoodlums, you know what I mean? Some, you know, teenage hoodlums to make a distraction so he can get the girl. So when he goes to their little, I'm going to call it a lair. When he goes to their lair, one of the guys like, you know, what's your odds of you getting her? He's like, probably slim to none. And one of the gang guys was like, what's your odds of you leaving here with that jacket? And he takes that damn knife out and throws it.
Machete.
And throws it and goes right through his mohawk and sticks in the head. He said, better than average. It's like, and he's like, okay, this guy's freaking crazy. Okay. So, but it's, like I said, it's a movie, Crocodile Dundee, if you have not seen it. And I mean, I don't know if it's a must-see movie, but I definitely think it's a movie if you are bored. And you
quarantine movie.
It's definitely a quarantine movie. It's a series, so you can watch 1, 2, and 3. I don't think they're available on Netflix. I couldn't find it.
It might be on Hulu.
You gotta buy it, so you have to buy it or rent it for like $4.99.
It might be on Hulu though.
Yeah, I think it is on Hulu. I think I watched it on Hulu, and then I found it at Walmart. It was a buy, like it was like $6, and you got the part 1 and part 2.
Oh, okay.
So, which is stupid. I don't know why they didn't put part 3 in there too, but they didn't.
I don't think part 3 did as well as
it didn't. Probably it was not that great. Just had its little spots.
But just another little tidbit before we go.
Yeah,
because I see you wrapping up.
Well, we're trying to.
This also character is based on a real person.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't know that.
Yes, this character is actually based on a real person, and this person actually the actual Crocodile Dundee guy, he actually died, I think, after the second movie.
Oh wow. Yeah.
He was actually killed.
Oh wow.
By a cop. It was a shootout.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You learned something new
Okay, but
today.
the real guy, did he actually wrestle the crocodile though?
They did not go into information about it. They saying
I need to know.
They saying that this
I'm researching that tonight.
That this guy was actually who Paul Hogan based his character on. So I'm thinking you might want to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but I want to know, like, did he go underwater with the crocodile? No, that's what I need to know. Like, was he already on land when you killed him? Because that's different.
Well,
like,
actually,
like if you a real bad mother, shut your mouth. If you went under with the goddamn crocodile and came out of the water,
and alligators are more dangerous on land than they are in the water.
This is very much true.
I still take my chances on land. I can't breathe. The niggas can breathe in the water.
Oh, okay. No, they're air breathers also.
Really? They hold their breath out of underwater?
Yeah. They're air breathers.
They take you down for a death roll. They don't actually kill you instantly. So they'll grab onto you. Then they'll.
I remember him mentioning that.
Yeah,
movie.
That's true though. That's called death roll.
It's a death roll, and then what they do is actually, even if you're not dead by the end of the death roll, if you just like stop moving, but you're still alive, they will lodge you under a rock or a branch or something like that and literally drown you and then come back and get you.
Yeah.
Just make sure you dead.
No, it's to soften your flesh.
Yep.
Oh.
So, yeah, they're smart.
Useless information.
I know that,
actually
man.
comes in handy.
I'm saying it's like a little computer.
But before we get out of here, I want to say thank you once again to Felicia K for coming through the Blast from the Past Movie Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
We applaud you for coming through. We appreciate you so much for coming through, man. And I want to say you're gonna look at Felicia. You'll be seeing some more of Felicia here pretty soon with our new podcast coming out here, and Kills and myself and some other person. It's gonna be a surprise too. We're gonna be starting a new podcast here sometime mid-May. So stay tuned for that. There'll be some more updates coming to you. But real quick, go around the horn. Final thoughts on the movie Crocodile Dundee.
Well, we'll let our guest go first.
Yeah, Felicia, go ahead.
Oh, you're too kind. Overall, I thought it was a cool movie. I think some of the older movies, you can tell like back then they didn't take as much risk. I would have liked to see like maybe a little more risk, a little more
action,
okay. A little more risk, a little more revealing. You know,
I could have gone with a little more revealing.
Right? Listen.
That's true.
Because I love the tub scene.
Yeah.
I didn't mention it, but I love the tub scene.
I was talking about the crocodile, just so we clear. Yeah. I was talking about the crocodile.
You want to see more of the crocodile? Small people.
Okay.
You can see it all day long.
See it all day long.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I would have liked to see more risk. But overall, I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was cool. I thought it was interesting. It had some SWAT. You know, you had the crocodile hunter gets the girl in the end from the flashy rich guy. I mean, it was a cool storyline. The actors were great. So I really enjoyed it. I liked it.
All right, cool. Kills?
I enjoyed the movie. I think it was a good movie. And like Felicia said, it showed that not everything is black and white when it comes to the wealthy and the non-wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the average guy.
Sometimes the rich guy doesn't get the girl.
Right. It posed that.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes he does. Sometimes he doesn't. But I like that. And so, like I said, it was a really good movie. Like I said, not necessarily a must-see, but it's a good quarantine movie. Actually, if you can sit and watch all three of them through, you know, like take a break, you know, and then come back and watch the next one, I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with both of you guys, man. I really feel like this is a movie that, like I said, it's not a must-see, but it's a movie like if you wanted to see one during quarantine, it's just like, you know, you watch all three of them, obviously, like Kill said, and that'll be a good thing to do. It has a lot of interesting concepts in it, I think. And just to see an old movie in the 80s or early 90s and see how that was filmed, that was just, you know, amazing, just to say the least, because the budget for that had to be, because they actually had to be in the outback for a little bit, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but there's nothing out there, so
that's true. But just to fly there, fly a crew back, you know, if you're in a theater person, you know that what kind of money that takes. But once again, guys, thank you guys for tuning in on the Instagram live feed. Appreciate it. And on Kill's Facebook live feed, we appreciate it. And also, if you listen to us on our audio sourcing websites, SoundCloud, Spotify, Player FM, all those good things. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to The Blast from the Past Movie Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, CJ.
Joe Kill, keeping it real.
Felicia K.
And we be out. Peace.